I was recently invited by the Women in Risk and Control group to participate on a panel to discuss threats and opportunities of generative AI in operational risk and compliance. The event also included breakout sessions where participants received guidance on shaping their risk and compliance careers from experienced professionals. The idea to create this video was inspired by the topics from one such breakout session. By the way, if you're not a member of this group, then please do consider joining. It provides excellent opportunities for women professionals to receive and share advice related to risk management related career opportunities. You can find the group from this link here or just search for Women in Risk and Control on LinkedIn. I'm Manoj Kulwal, and I am co-founder and Chief Risk Officer at Risk Spotlight. At Risk Spotlight, our AI practice specializes in generative AI technologies and how these can enhance the productivity and quality of risk management activities in financial services industry. I will cover the topic of preparing for a job interview from both the employee and employer perspective. ChatGPT provides significant functionalities for both stakeholders involved in a job interview. So let's start with an employee perspective, which in context of this video refers to candidates who are applying for operational risk-related job roles in financial services firms. You can utilize ChatGPT to seek advice on the content of your CV and revise the content based on the feedback. In this use case, I will utilize CV of a fictitious operational risk professional called Linda Wilkins. This is her current CV, where she's described her career objective, she's described her education that she graduated in 2018 from London School of Economics. She's currently working as an operational risk analyst in Barclays. These are her responsibilities and achievements there. And before Barclays, she worked for HSBC also as an operational risk analyst. And these are her key skills and personal interest and hobbies. So let's see how she can utilize ChatGPT to get advice on the structure and content of the CV. First, you can create a persona for ChatGPT to be a career advisor for operational risk roles. Remember, ChatGPT has access to a wide range of information and hence can act as an expert on topics such as health, nutrition, career, and risk management. But in this case, we want ChatGPT to be an expert career advisor for operational risk roles in financial services industry. To achieve this, you can type this prompt and press enter. ChatGPT will now adopt the persona of a career advisor and provide some initial guidance to start the discussion. So you can see as a career advisor, it's asking you to understand the industry and how the industry works, develop risk management skills, stay updated with regulations, enhance the technical and analytical skills, and so on. Next, Linda wants advice on her CV, so she can upload her CV. So let's do that here. And she can enter this prompt to seek feedback on the CV. So in this prompt, she's highlighting that she wants to apply for senior operational risk analyst roles in financial services firms in UK. And she wants ChatGPT to review the attached CV and provide feedback on the structure and content of the CV. She also wants ChatGPT to provide feedback on any updates on existing content and any new content she can add to the CV to make it more aligned with senior operational risk analyst roles. So let's press enter to get feedback on this prompt. So now ChatGPT has reviewed the CV and it's starting to provide feedback on the career objective, where it says your objective is clear and relevant. And then it's saying consider adding specific aspirations or skills you're aiming to develop at a senior level, such as leadership in risk management strategies or influencing firm-wide risk culture. It's also providing feedback on the professional experience at Barclays, which is a current role, and at HSBC. It's providing feedback on the skills, on the personal interest and hobbies, which was in the CV. And these are the new content it is recommending which should be added to the CV to make it more compelling, which are around professional development, technical skills, and leadership and project management. Linda can now utilize this feedback and go and update the CV, or she can request ChatGPT to provide an updated version of the CV content. So in this case, Linda can provide this prompt where she's requesting ChatGPT to update and extend the CV content based on the feedback ChatGPT has shared and provide a revised version of the CV in the output. So let me hit return. And now what ChatGPT will do is it'll rewrite the CV content where it'll try to incorporate as many of the feedback points as possible. And it will also change the structure where that change may be needed. So here you can see it's reformatted the content of her experience at Barclays and at HSBC compared to how it was presented in her CV. Linda can now review the revised content and she can copy and paste this into her CV and then ensure that all the content is correct and relevant for her experience. The next use case is where Linda can ask ChatGPT to provide guidance on interview questions so she can be adequately prepared for these. For this use case, let's assume Linda had been invited to an interview for the Senior Operational Risk Analyst role at Deutsche Bank. Please note that this is a fictitious role created for the example in this video. It has the job profile, the key responsibilities expected from this role, the areas for growth and development, and some introductory text around the operational risk management policy of Deutsche Bank, which is again all fictitious content, and just an overview of Deutsche Bank, which is again just fictitious content. And Linda can utilize this prompt, which is basically saying that she's been invited for an interview for this senior risk analyst role at Deutsche Bank. Based on the details of this job role and her CV, which ChatGPT also knows about her CV from the previous chat discussions, she's requesting ChatGPT to provide a list of 7 role-related questions she may be asked during this interview. So let me hit return. And now ChatGPT will review the details of the role at Deutsche Bank, and it'll review the experience of Linda from her CV content, and it'll now create 7 questions which she may be asked by the interviewer during the interview. So here you can see the first question is on risk analysis and monitoring, where she may be asked, can you describe a time when you conducted an in-depth risk assessment? What was your approach and how did you ensure alignment with compliance standards? Then there's a question on strategy development, reporting and communication, and so on. Linda can now review these questions and prepare to respond to these questions during the interview. Note that I requested for 7 questions because there is a limit on number of characters within ChatGPT responses. However, you can ask for more questions. So let me ask for 7 more questions. To do that, I can simply enter a prompt saying, can you give me a list of another 7 questions? And now ChatGPT already understands the context, so I don't have to give all the details again. It'll just give me additional 7 questions for the context for that same job role, which I highlighted earlier. And now it's giving questions related to regulatory compliance, to risk management framework, stakeholder engagement, and so on. You can use this technique to create as many questions as you want. Typically, you may want to prepare a list of 25 to 30 questions that may be asked during the interview and be prepared to respond to those questions so they don't come as a surprise to you during the interview. You can also request guidance from ChatGPT on how to respond to these interview questions. For example, if Linda wants guidance on how to respond to this question on team collaboration and dynamics, then she can use this prompt. In this case, Linda is requesting ChatGPT to provide guidance on key topics she should cover in responding to a question related to team collaboration and dynamics. So I've copied and pasted that question here. And then ChatGPT already understands the details of those questions, so I don't have to copy and paste the whole question. And I can hit return. So now ChatGPT will provide guidance that in context of the senior operational risk analyst role, what are some of the key topics that you should consider in responding to the team collaboration and dynamics related question. So here it's talking about the value of diverse perspectives, approach to conflict resolution, fostering a collaborative environment, and so on. And you can ask for similar guidance on any of the questions where you're not sure how you should respond or what topics you should cover in your response. You can use similar prompt to seek guidance on any of the questions. The next functionality of ChatGPT I want to share is the functionality of conducting mock interviews. This functionality is available in the mobile app of ChatGPT and is only available if you use the paid version of ChatGPT. You can set the scene for the mock interview within ChatGPT on your PC and then switch to the mobile app for conducting the mock interview. In this prompt, I have uploaded the CV of Linda and the job profile of the Senior Operational Risk Analyst at Deutsche Bank. In the prompt, I'm highlighting that ChatGPT should play the role of Linda, and I will play the role of the interviewer. You can also reverse these roles, where ChatGPT can play the role of the interviewer and interview you for the role. This will give you real-life practice of the interview. So let me hit enter. The scene is set now. So now I'm going to switch to my mobile application, and on my phone, I'm going to act as an interviewer and ask questions to Linda for this mock interview. And ChatGPT, in this case, will act as Linda. Okay, Linda, can you describe a time when you conducted an in-depth risk assessment? What was your approach and how did you ensure alignment with compliance standards?
Certainly. In my previous role at ABC Corporation, I led a comprehensive risk assessment project for our new digital banking platform. My approach involved several key steps. First, I conducted a thorough analysis of the platform's operational function, identifying areas with potential risk exposure. This involved collaborating with the IT and finance departments to understand the intricacies of the platform's technology and financial operations. Next, I reviewed both internal and external compliance standards relevant to digital banking. I paid special attention to recent regulations in the financial sector, ensuring our assessment was up to date. And using a combination of qualitative and quantitative risk assessment tools, I evaluated the identified risks. This included assessing the likelihood of occurrence and potential impact on the business. To ensure a comprehensive view, I also involved external experts for an independent assessment. This provided an additional layer of scrutiny and helped validate our internal findings. Finally, I compiled a detailed report outlining the identified risks, their potential impact, and recommended mitigation strategies. This report was presented to the senior management team, ensuring alignment with our overall risk management framework and compliance standards. This project not only helped in proactively managing potential risks, but also demonstrated our commitment to compliance and operational excellence. It was a great learning experience, and I believe it aligns well with the responsibilities of the senior risk analyst role at Deutsche Bank, where in-depth risk assessments are crucial.
Thank you, Linda. Can you also describe your experience working with other departments to integrate risk management practices? Can you share an instance where you participated in a cross-functional project?
Sure. In my previous role at ABC Corporation, I was actively involved in a project that focused on integrating risk management practices across different departments, specifically targeting our new product development initiatives. I played a key role in bridging the gap between the risk management department and other teams, such as product development and marketing. My primary responsibility was to ensure that risk considerations were seamlessly integrated into the product lifecycle, from initial concept through to market launch. A significant part of my involvement was organizing and leading risk assessment workshops. These workshops brought together representatives from various departments, creating a platform for identifying and discussing potential risks associated with new products. We covered a range of risks, including operational, market, and compliance related issues. I worked closely with product managers, providing them with insights on potential risks at different stages of product development. This collaboration was instrumental in developing effective risk mitigation strategies that were incorporated into the project plans. The outcome of this cross-functional project was the successful launch of a new product, which not only achieved our business goals, but also adhered to our stringent risk management standards. This experience underscored the importance of collaborative efforts in risk management and how essential it is to embed risk considerations into every aspect of business operations. This kind of collaborative and integrative approach to risk management is very much in line with what's expected in the senior risk analyst role at Deutsche Bank.
So I'll stop the mock interview there. I hope you can see the amazing benefits of ChatGPT through the examples I have highlighted so far in this video. Individuals who utilize ChatGPT to prepare for interviews will have significant competitive edge over individuals who don't utilize ChatGPT for their preparation. Now, let me shift focus to the employer perspective and demonstrate use cases for how they can utilize ChatGPT to hire and interview for operational risk-related roles. The first use case is utilizing ChatGPT to draft content of an operational risk-related role. In this prompt, I'm requesting ChatGPT to create a job role description for a senior operational risk analyst to be hired in the second-line group operational risk function. I'm providing a list of important topics that should be considered for the role. ChatGPT will utilize these topics and create suitable content for the job role. Let me press enter. And you can see ChatGPT has started creating the job description for the senior operational risk analyst role. It's created the location section, the work arrangement, because in my input, I specified that this was a 3-day presence role in London and 2 days of remote working. So it's converted that into a hybrid work arrangement. It's given me an overview of the role and what are the key responsibilities that will become part of this particular role. And based on those responsibilities, it's also created the required skills and experience a potential candidate should have to fulfill this role. It has also created a section highlighting the experience a candidate should have to fulfill this particular role. You can use similar concept to create job descriptions for various roles in the operational risk and compliance function in your organization. If you want ChatGPT to create job descriptions in a specific format, then it is possible to train ChatGPT with your organization's templates. And then it will produce the job descriptions in your preferred format. In my example, I have not done that, but technically this is possible to do. The next use case is where you can assess a fit of a candidate and a role for which you are planning to interview the candidate. For this use case, I have uploaded the description of the Senior Operational Risk Analyst role and CV of a candidate I am interviewing tomorrow for this role. So in this case, I've utilized the CV of Linda Wilkins we saw earlier in this video. In the prompt, I'm requesting ChatGPT to assess Linda's fit for this role. To remove any potential biases, I'm requesting ChatGPT to exclude topics related to gender, racial, religious, and personal interest from its assessment and focus purely on the professional topics. I'm also requesting ChatGPT to provide me the list of strengths and weaknesses of Linda's profile against the requirements of this role. So let me hit this button. And now ChatGPT will analyze Linda's experience and try to align that with the requirement of the Senior Operational Risk Analyst role to assess whether she's fit or not fit to be hired for this particular role. So initially, it's trying to summarize her experience at Barclays and HSBC. It listed down the skills she has mentioned on her CV. And now it is starting to do the alignment to see, okay, what are the strengths of her experience which align with the requirement of this role. So it highlights that, yeah, she has the risk management experience, she has the analytical skills, she has the collaboration and leadership skills. But the areas where we need to explore further is whether she has any GRC tools experience, because in the job role responsibility, we have mentioned that they need to have experience with certain GRC software. And on Linda's CV, that is not mentioned. So that's something we can explore then during the interview. Similarly, the job responsibility talks about international travel, and Linda has not mentioned that on her CV. So it's highlighting that. And similarly, the job responsibility requires the analyst to mentor and coach junior analysts, and Linda has not mentioned that in her experience. So it's highlighting which are the areas we may want to then probe further during the interview with Linda to assess whether she is the right fit for this particular role. This can enable the interviewers to appropriately prepare for interviewing the candidate. This can be particularly useful if multiple candidates are being considered for a single role. The next use case is where you can prepare interview questions to ask the candidate during the interview. In this prompt, I'm requesting ChatGPT to generate 7 interview questions to assess whether Linda could be a good fit for the requirement of the Senior Operational Risk Analyst role. I'm requesting 4 questions related to her strengths and 3 questions related to the gaps which were identified. I'm also requesting ChatGPT to provide me its reasoning for including the question and potential red flags in Linda's responses that may indicate that she is not the right candidate for this role. So let me hit the send message button here. And now you can see it has started drafting the questions to assess her strengths. So the first question here is, can you describe a complex operational risk issue you identified at Barclays and how you managed it? And then it's giving a reasoning, is that this question aims to understand Linda's ability to identify, analyze, and mitigate risks, a core part of the Senior Operational Risk Analyst role. And a red flag being highlighted is that if her responses are vague or they provide superficial explanation, then that may indicate a lack of deep involvement or understanding of operational risk management. And it's doing that for the other questions where you have the reasoning and the potential red flags. And it's also created the questions for the gaps or weaknesses which were highlighted earlier. So in this case, we need to ask her about her experience with the GRC tools, We need to ask her about the international travel aspect of the role to see whether she would be prepared to do the level of traveling needed by this particular role. This can allow the interviewers to be better prepared for interviewing the candidates and assessing the alignment between their professional experience and the role responsibilities. The last use case I want to cover is utilizing ChatGPT for assessing the expertise of a candidate on a given topic. I have already published a detailed video on this topic on the Risk Spotlight YouTube channel. So please watch this video for detailed explanation. In this video, I will just present one example of creating an assessment. Here, I'm requesting ChatGPT to create 7 multi-choice questions to assess advanced knowledge of conducting RCSA for operational risk in financial services firm. I'm also requesting ChatGPT to not display the answers. So let me hit the send message button. And now ChatGPT will start creating the multi-choice questions. So in this case, the first question is, what is the primary objective of RCSA in financial services? And then it's providing 4 options. And similarly, it's creating the other questions. You can copy and paste these questions into Excel or Word and then provide those to the candidates when they come for the interview, and then collect their responses, and then you can evaluate their responses to assess whether they really understand about the given topic or not. You can request the correct answers for these questions from ChatGPT by just providing a simple prompt to say, provide the answers, and then it'll provide you the correct answers for all the 7 questions. This type of evaluation can be useful when you're hiring for a junior role or when someone is moving from a junior role to a slightly senior role, and you want to assess what is their current level of knowledge on certain topics. That completes the use cases I wanted to share in this video. If you want to explore the topics covered in this video further, then please send us an email at ai@riskspotlight.com. We have conducted in-depth analysis of 100+ use cases for utilizing generative AI for operational risk management, and we are very keen to share this with your team. Generative AI can significantly enhance the productivity and quality of risk management if implemented with the right guidance. That's all for this video. Thank you for your time and attention.